Hi, I'm the Master Levy Cherbulenko, and in this series I explore the typical mistakes of people rated anywhere between 1000 and 2000. This is a first reaction, no engine analysis of a chess.com game played between 1293 versus 1256. Let's start. Right, d4, d5, knight c3. Okay, that's already kind of weird. Usually we never put the knight in front of a c-pawn. Why? Because black can just play like c6, for example, at some point, and then we won't have any real pressure against the pawn. Why? Because we'll have pressure of different value. We have a knight, which is 3 points, attacking a pawn was defended by another pawn. So the pawn is guarded by, the d5 pawn will be guarded by the c6 pawn, right? So the guardian is worth 1 point, whereas the attacker is worth 3 points. So after c6, there is no real pressure, you know. That's why we have to always put the queenside knight behind the c-pawn, So we have to play c4, and after c6, then we can play knight c3. Now we have real pressure. Why? Because we have pawn versus pawn, right? Pieces of the same value, and then we have additional pressure with a knight. So that's one thing, we have real pressure. Second thing is we open up a queen, so then we can play eventually queen b3, you know, pressuring the b7 pawn and also the d5 pawn. So always put the queenside knight behind the c pawn. But let's see. Here, mistake, knight e6, black mirrors white, same mistake, of course. Okay, bishop f4. Okay, bishop f4 makes sense. Activating the bishop, eventually want to play e3, but we have put the bishop outside the chain. Also, potentially might want to play knight b5, you know, attacking c7, maybe even immediately, you know, because it's not so easy to defend. So black would have to play a6, not to allow it. So yeah, even like knight b5 is an immediate threat. But let's see, knight f6, black completely ignores it. I mean, maybe black should have played, or a6 is too passive. A6, usually when you want to defend, when you see a threat, don't think about passive defense, think about active defense. For example, what do I mean? Instead of a6, black would have played here a move like, let's say, bishop f5, and if white goes knight b5 attacking the pawn, then black can play rook c8. This is a more active defense. Why? Because black did not just merely play, you know, a6. They developed the bishop. Even with rook c8, you know, although it looks kind of weird, but, you know, potentially black would play like c5 in the future, and the rook will be active on the c file. And then black, by the way, can play a6 with tempo after white has already played knight b5, and so a6 will come with tempo, you know, forcing white to come back. So yeah, even if you like wanna defend, find an active way. Defend in a way that activates your pieces, that develops your pieces. Not like, you know, don't like just make corner pawn moves, right? Try to avoid corner pawn moves as much as possible, okay? But yeah, knight f6, I mean, just knight b5, no? Yeah, knight b5. Yeah, knight f6, I think, yeah, is a mistake. Black did not apply prophylactic thinking. Black was just thinking about himself, about he was just playing on autopilot. That's another mistake. You just know a opening, and you just play on autopilot, regardless of the moves of your opponent. You have to always ask yourself, when your opponent makes a move, what's the point of that move? What is the threat? What changed? Why did he put that piece there? Don't just play on autopilot. Have like some sort of like outline, you know, like a frame, which, you know, what you're gonna do in a certain opening, but always, you know, remain flexible, you know, depending on your opponent's moves, right? Don't just play on autopilot. Okay. So knight f6, I think, is a big mistake. Yeah, knight b5. Now, how does black defend the pawn? It's not so clear. Yeah, e5. Yeah, is the only move. But I mean, why can't you just take? Why can't you just take and have a clear advantage? Bishop e5. Okay, bishop e5 is interesting. Another move would have been d. Also, also interesting. And I was just thinking, if black goes knight h5, I was just thinking if bishop g5 makes sense. Attacking the bishop, but then after queen g5, knight takes c7, double attack. Right now, black cannot even castle. Because it's checked, they have to move a king somewhere, and then we can just like take the rook. And right, so we're up in exchange, queen d5 coming next, this pawn is weak, the king is weak. So, you know, knight f3 is coming, stuff like that. So I think this looks, yeah, pretty good for white. Should be a big advantage, I guess. Yeah. So bishop g5 would be interesting. But okay, let's see. Bishop takes e5. Takes a6. So I think if black just goes like, let's say, knight e4 or something, there's this tactic, queen takes d5. Queen takes d5, right? We've deflected the queen from d8, which it was guarding c7 from there, and then we can play knight c7 check. Again, the king cannot castle anymore, has to move somewhere, and then knight takes d5, taking back the queen, you know, winning a pawn, and white is just completely winning. Next, white can like develop, maybe play f3, e4, maybe just knight f3, maybe pawn e3, maybe castle long at some point, you know, with big advantage. I think white is up like a pawn or two, probably 2 pawns. So yeah, there's this tactic, queen d5. That's probably why black played a6. Or maybe we just missed and we just like played a6, but not because we saw this, but just because we wanted to play a6. I don't know. Let's see here. Okay, this is interesting. Another move would have been I mean, there are many moves. One move could have been knight c3, simply bringing back the queen, the knight. The knight moves, and then we just take on d5. Let's say knight e4, and then we can just like take on d5. That'd be one option, for example. Another option would have been to play knight takes c7 first, queen takes c7, and then ef. And black has a horrible pawn structure, right? This also looks very, very good. Like black will take. This pawn is weak, maybe I can just take it immediately. Or even if white doesn't take, because like if we take, maybe there's like something like this, I don't know. But white can just play like pawn c3, you know, solidifying everything, and now black has a horrible pawn structure. Isolated pawn, double isolated pawns, weak king, weak d4 square, we can put the knight there. White is super solid, huge advantage. So yeah, knight c7 I think would have been also very, very good. Probably the best, yeah? Knight c7, probably the best. But okay, let's see, here, e4. Yeah, I mean, not 100% necessary, I guess. Although it's an interesting move, yeah. Another move would have been e3, you know, similar but not losing the e4 pawn. And finally, another move would have been just take some pawn c3, limiting this bishop, and then e3 pressure here, developing the knight, also good. Let's see here. Check. Here. Bishop c4. I mean, again, I think FG would have been not bad, I guess. Here, and then bishop c4, you know, winning a pawn on g7, why not? First take on g7, win a pawn, and then bishop c4. So bishop c4, I think, is a mistake. Bishop c4, why not win a pawn? Okay, here. Okay, no, this I'm not so sure about. I think black should have taken the pawn with the queen. c3 is interesting for sure. Takes. Here. Rook d1. I think instead of rook d1, long castle would be more interesting. Why not rook d1? Because there's always this threat, right? Discover check. So why not just play long castle instead, right? Let's say we make whatever move, and then fg. Yeah, and this should be pretty good. And then fg. So I think long castle would have been better. But let's see, rook d1 check here. Takes. Yeah, see, now we take the check, and then we can take one of 6. That's exactly what I meant, right? If the king goes on c1, this wouldn't have happened. So that's a big slip from white. Yeah, bishop gf. Why not bishop takes? Now that's weird. Should have just taken with a bishop. I don't understand why not just take with a bishop. So gf, I think, is a mistake. Developing the knight here. King e2. Ooh, oh my god. What is this? Rook e2. Crazy. Takes. c5. Yeah, I mean, well, now it's just completely winning. Okay. Allowing to pin, but still white will be up a piece. Even so. c4. I mean, even if black takes, still white will be up a piece and completely winning. Okay. So let's see. c4. Oh my god. Just takes. Yeah, I don't even want to comment on the last few moves. It was crazy. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this analysis, and I'll see you in the next video.